Hey, how you doing? This is Nick Goodman with ITologist, and in today's video, we're going to be going over the benefits of installing and utilizing Ubiquiti as the ecosystem of elite networking equipment. So you've probably heard of Netgear and D-Link, of course, obviously Cisco. You may or may not have heard of Ubiquiti. Ubiquiti is really the industry leader when it comes to startup businesses, small businesses, medium-sized businesses, and even in some select instances, putting some of the Ubiquiti products in an enterprise environment very selectively. And the thing that's really amazing about Ubiquiti is that they have an entire ecosystem of products that is designed to advance business goals and efficiencies and needs and solve problems and be a singular one-stop shop ecosystem to handle more than just your baseline networking components. They're affordable. There's no ongoing license fees, unlike some of the other providers like a Cisco, which is really geared more towards like an enterprise environment. And they just work really, really well. And we've been having some awesome success converting and migrating businesses from kind of cob together solutions, where you'll go in and you'll see a mix of different products that make up the ecosystem. And, in a lot of cases, it's really, there's no visibility over at any given moment, what the heck is going on in the environment? Is there a threat in the environment? Why did something drop off? Why is there a loss? Why can't this person connect? Why are these voice over IP phones so poor quality wise? It's a strange kind of hodgepodge cob job that we see in a lot of these environments, and also in a lot of cases the equipment that's in the environment is really not designed to be performing up to the standards of a 99.99% uptime environment. So a lot of times we will work on building a project and a proposal exclusively around the Ubiquiti ecosystem of products. And if we look at the main store, and you can too if you go to store.ui.com, you'll notice there's a tremendous amount of products in here. And we've had the pleasure of working with a lot of the stuff that you'll find in here, really on from the routing equipment to switches to wireless to door access, in-room access like hotel style, which we'll talk about in a little bit. It's pretty comprehensive. It's amazing stuff. So basically, just to give you an idea of the Ubiquiti ecosystem. So normally you have your internet service provider, right? You've got your Spectrum, your Verizon, your Cox, your CenturyLink, your Frontier. It doesn't matter who your internet service provider is. That's the company that's bringing the service into your building, into your facility. That's the critical service that's going to keep your internet functioning and give you access outside to the world and inside to your business. So in a lot of cases, what we do is we generally move into a replacement of whatever's on site at your location. We go through the process of coming on site and pretty much doing a discovery just to make sure that our solutions are exactly in alignment with what your budget looks like, what your needs look like, and everything in between. We generally start with the Security Gateway Pro, which is really a router, on an enterprise level that is designed to replace any equipment that you have with your service provider as far as a router is concerned. So this is doing all of your traffic out to the internet. It's bridging the service equipment from your service provider to your local network. It's a critical part of the beginning stage of the infrastructure for a Ubiquiti network. From here, a lot of times what will happen is you'll have enough physical ports and needs within your environment to necessitate a switch, or in many cases multiple switches, 2, 3, sometimes 4 switches or more, depending upon how large and how many connections you have in your environment. there's a variety of switches in the ecosystem here that make everything custom to your needs. So for example, we'll just choose this switch as one type of switch. This is designed specifically around providing full power over Ethernet. So every single port is lit up with power output. The last 8 ports of the switch are a special type of power. It's a higher wattage power. It's the 802.3 BTPoE++, and that is designed specifically to power higher power requirement devices, such as the Ubiquiti hub for the physical door access system for badge swiping, which we'll get into in a little bit. And it also provides your fiber links as well with your little status screen on the left-hand side. So really, it's a per port connectivity piece of hardware. In all of the installs, I would say 99% of them that we do at Iteologist, one of the things that we notice that's a common problem is, and you probably have seen this as well, is little switches, little dumb, 4, 8, 12, 16, however many ports located throughout your office location. Just because, there was never a proper planning, there's not enough cabling, maybe somebody got lazy and just said, throw this device in here. But it really can bottleneck your performance when you start loading up a bunch of connections into a singular device with a single connection from that device back to the network equipment, wherever that is in your environment. And so a lot of times what we do is we go in and we make sure that we can run fresh cabling and try in as many cases as possible to have a home run connection between one of the ports off this switch to each device on your network. It's really mission critical, that we do that. And so from here, what we do is we pair this with a cloud key. We have a cloud key that physically connects to the one of the ports off the switch, and the cloud key is designed for remote access. It provides all of the dashboard connectivity from a remote standpoint, which I'll show you in a little bit. It also provides logging and other types of storage mechanisms for door swipes and security cameras, and this can be scaled up tenfold to almost really a limitless in a way from a practicality standpoint, storage and capability. So this is critical. We have these on all of our networks. We plug these into our devices so that we can support your business in a remote dashboard fashion. From here we have wireless, and so generally wireless is going to be built around the needs of how many devices need to connect, the density of the environment that you're in. Do you have a conference room, multiple conference rooms, the square footage, how many floors do you have? And based around those specific needs of your actual environment, your business environment, we can propose the type of wireless access point you need and the quantities that you need. Never ever do we go and shortchange this. This is always something that gets you enough power. You're going to have enough to grow into. You're not going to have to go back behind and replace it. Again, each one of these has its own dedicated connection or home run back to the equipment. And it's really special to do it that way because it allows for, full gigabit or even more, throughput rate. In a lot of these cases, actually, you can have aggregate throughput rate, which is pretty awesome. So really depending upon your environment, the needs of your environment, the number of devices connected, the density, interferences, things of that nature, we're going to spec out a specific wireless access point that is going to help be conducive to your network. Now from here, we can also add on, businesses are electing to add on cameras, security cameras that are also a part of the Ubiquiti ecosystem. So, depending upon what you have going on in your environment, these two are pretty common. These are really for your internal, surface mount. They're more discreet. They're still going to be 4 megapixel. They're going to have a really great quality to them. The G4 bullets are pretty standard for outdoor cameras as far as being able to withstand weather conditions and have rain and snow and sleet and things accumulate on the camera. That's pretty much your standard for that. And then the G4 Pro, we've used those for specific situations where there's high quality requirements. These are 4K cameras, and the 4K cameras are going to give you insane resolution and video quality where you can really zoom in on images and get a lot of detail and license plate information. We do those in parking lots where there's a lot of activity and you need to get a make and a model of a car or something along those lines. You would put those cameras in that solution. And again, each one of these cameras has a connection back to the switch, which is going to provide power to it. So there's no need to have a separate power box. You don't want a separate power box mounted right next to or on top of the camera locations. And the same thing with the wireless access points. That is not needed. If you're really in a larger installation, and we have some clients who are doing 15, 16, 18, 20 cameras, you would actually, instead of getting this, you would buy into a network video recorder or a network video recorder pro, really again dependent upon the quantity of cameras that you need to go with to scale up and say, hey, we need 15, 18, 20, 25 cameras in our environment. This is not going to be able to sustain the storage required to have all of the footage and the motion detection. Typically what we do is we actually do a 24-hour continual recording, but have motion alerts set so that, obviously when you're going to retrieve the old footage, you can jump right to a motion alert, you can get to it. And if you need to, somehow if that gets missed, you can go back in time and you can manually search on the timeline of an NVR to make sure that everything is showing up there. So this is kind of a more of an enterprise grade, or we put these typically in larger businesses or, government municipalities. And the thing that's really cool is that if you buy the equipment one time, you don't have to pay any licenses. With the Cisco equipment, awesome, phenomenal, elite level equipment, but there's a high cost associated with the hardware, and there's a high cost associated with the ongoing licensing to be able to maintain the privilege to run and control the equipment, which can get a little pricey, of course, as you add a lot of devices into that ecosystem. From here, door access is becoming a hugely popular option. We're starting to do a lot more of these. We've done a couple of these installs. Effectively, if you buy the kit, what that does is, again, it connects back into that switch that provides power, one of those special 8 ports, if you remember that I mentioned, that gives an extra power boost required to plug into this access starter kit. And really what that does is that powers the access hub, and then the access hub can provide power from here, out of here, to all of your other devices. So basically you would have, the hub plugged into your switch, and then from there you would have the various pieces of equipment and components that would make up your system. So that's a picture of the hub. This is a picture of the door reader. This would mount right next to the door and would pair with a mag lock or some sort of a electronic mechanism to unlock and allow for entry and egress to in and out of the facilities. And this is what it looks like, just really from more of a topology perspective. You've got your connectivity, as I mentioned, out of your switch, special port into the hub, and then from the hub it powers all of the different devices all the way on down the line. And so as part of this, you've got some equipment that you can you can add this. This actually is an egress mechanism where you just wave your hand and it unlocks or buzzes the door to let the user out. You can use your NFC near field communication card, much like you would if you had like a HID card at a traditional office. You can use a PIN, 4, 6, 8-digit PIN to get access into your doors and your areas. It's pretty comprehensive. It's pretty awesome, and it's all managed through the dashboard, which I'm going to show you in a minute. And then, of course, you can do your voice over IP as long as you have your service provider in play. You can migrate your old-fashioned PBX or POTS phones to digital voice over IP phones, and then those connect into the same network in the ecosystem and basically can be provisioned and quality controlled around the voice quality, which is really it's an important thing. It gets you into the top 10% of traffic as far as prioritizing that traffic for a very crystal clear, latent free phone conversation for all of your phone calls, which is really awesome. So Ubiquiti provides, as you can see, a full suite and a hosting of all different types of equipment, which is really why we love working with Ubiquiti so much because it's so integrated with everything, and it solves so many different problems across the board for a reasonably and relatively affordable price. They even offer all the different accessories, so you can get, skins for, matching like hardwood. If you needed to mount your wireless access points or covers, you can do your upside down pendants. You've got all of your different cabling and patch cables to round out your installation. And one of the things actually I want to bring up on this conversation is really cool, somewhat of a little bit of a newer product that we've started installing, is the Unify LTE. This is basically a device, again, that connects with power over Ethernet right into the switch. And what it does, it's really cool, is that it actually provides failover internet to AT&T cellular. So in the event that your Spectrum goes down, your main internet service provider, your Verizon goes down as a main internet service provider, this device will automatically sense that there's been an outage in your primary ISP, and it'll start to provide cellular service to select devices or to all of the devices on your network, which is really a great backup mechanism to have. And it allows us as a support provider to have a backdoor method to go into your system in the event of an outage on your network and see what's going on, and potentially make adjustments and changes on the fly, which is pretty awesome for a relatively cheap cost of $15 for 1 gigabyte of data for the first gigabyte of data, and then $10 for every gigabyte thereafter. So that gets us to the next point. Once you have all this equipment, you say, Nick, this sounds great. This is awesome. I love it. I want to learn more. This sounds like something I would be completely interested in, could benefit our environment. But then what? Okay, so we install it. Then what? What else are we getting off of this? Well, I can tell you that us as the support providers, the IT support providers, and for you as the business owners as well, can have access to the remote dashboard. If you remember, I talked about the cloud key. There's a lot of things that can be done almost exclusively remotely. Once the connections are in play and the network is set up, 95, 98, 99% of this stuff can be done remotely, which is pretty amazing. So as an example, here's a location right here, and we're going to go in here. We're going to take a look right now, and they have a pretty, a decent sized network, a pretty significant sized network, where they have about 20 physical Ubiquiti devices that make up their ecosystem across a 3-floor, small 15-bedroom property. So here's all the different devices that connect back physically to the main switch. And this shows everything in a topology format. We can get right into the network nitty gritty and the details, and you can see that, there's a lot of stuff going on this network. You can remotely update equipment. You can see outages and failures. You can see if there's been a degradation of service for whatever reason. You can gain a lot of insights into all that information pretty quickly. And there is no way that this is happening without having an elite system set up like a Cisco or a Ubiquiti. In a Netgear environment, in a D-Link environment, in a cobbled, different vendor type environment, you're just never going to have the type of visibility to know that everything on your network is going awesome. And, so once we dig in a little bit deeper, what does that mean? What am I looking at? What is this? This is just a high level overview of everything going on in your environment that is, basically showing you where everything shows up, common space hallway APs, in-room bedroom APs. This has a notification on it. Let's see what's going on with this one. There's something going on here. It's saying that it is the device cannot connect to your Unified console internal SDUN server. So, that's something that we'll have visibility and insight into looking a little bit further after we get off this video. And here's your switch. You can see exactly what's connected, the speed at which it's connected. Green for 1 gig, orange for 100 meg. Some of these things, don't have an option. They're only set at 100 meg, so there's no choice to change it there. And you can go right to what it is. Bedroom 7. I can even shut that port off. We can even power cycle that port. That type of control and visibility and knowledge over your network is pro grade, enterprise class, elite. You're not going to get that from any other vendor outside of, say, like a Cisco even, which of course, as we mentioned, is pretty pricey. And then you've got things like insights, and you can gain traffic information, who's doing what, how much they're using from a bandwidth standpoint. You can really shut them down. You can start blocking people, which is great if you need to. Set parameters for times of days, device types, being able to connect, check out your threat management. Is there any threats coming into this network that need to be addressed, that need to be, handled and taken care of? Here's 4 from the United States alone that had a high severity. We're going to take a look at this as soon as we get off the call. So security and threat prevention management and automatic blocking, that's all part of the Ubiquiti ecosystem as far as the value proposition goes. Now let's go back and just briefly switch gears to I want to go back to the a different setup that we have with somebody that shows you some of the cameras. So as we go into here, and let's say you have, the enterprise class, the network recorder, right? Let's say that you're somebody who just, you have a need for security cameras, and it's a big deal for you. Okay, no problem. Basically, in this situation, you can be exclusive cameras. You can bake that in as part of the ecosystem. You could really have that be a standalone. You could have it be part of the environment, and really set this up any way you want. You have full control over the retention, the quality of cameras, everything that is comes along with night vision or motion detection from a person perspective, from a and I apologize, it's a little sluggish here because I'm doing the screen recording at the same time. Normally, if I'm on my own, it's very snappy. Within seconds, it comes right up. But basically, you're going to have the control over all this, right? So, this is highly granular, highly customizable to make sure that everything is performing the way that you want to, and getting the alerts if you choose to get the alerts that you want to, which is great. Let's say that you're somebody who has wants to incorporate part of the door swipe system. No problem. Absolutely. We're starting to do a lot more of that. A lot of the businesses that we're working with are really interested in having the physical security, perimeter security presence as part of their ecosystem. And this is something that you really don't see generally with other vendors, that it's built in with the same type of product. Usually it's a separate product like a HID or something else, or a digital pin pad or Schlage or something that's not same branded like a Ubiquiti. And basically that little device that had the camera on the front of it shows you everybody coming and going. It shows you who was able to come in successfully, who got an error message, who needed to buzz for guest access. And there's a little button on there, and it presses that for guest access, and it rings in a doorbell fashion to anybody who has an alert, who's signed into that app on their phone, which is pretty awesome. And it really is a highly functional hotel-style solution. I was actually just having a conversation with somebody at Wyndham who has a battery-operated non-screen version of this, and we were talking about this, and he was just floored and blown away with how incredible that would be for his environment to have that, which is pretty awesome. So, we can put those in at any perimeter door. You can put those in at any internal door. You can do a combination of both. It's really whatever you want to do from a business standpoint. It's pretty limitless. So, that gives you an idea overall, as far as the Ubiquiti solutions are concerned. I'm just going to show you some before and after pictures. We were working in an environment, several environments recently, that really I couldn't even believe how bad, the setup was, in terms of what they were running, and they thought that it was good. Look at the mess of cables here. You've got a Buffalo server, you've got what looks like a Spectrum modem equipment, you've got a Juniper box, you've got some Avaya switches, we don't know, you got some old punch downs here, you got the coax. There's a lot of hodgepodge and mess going on in this environment. You just said, everything out, everybody out of the pool. We're going to start over and we're going to do this proper from the ground up. Here's some build outs of some other locations as they were going through the build out process. It was really great to get in and do a lot of the cable runs up in the ceilings and the joists, and really make sure that you want to, where possible, get in and do the cable runs in the open air nature of working with the infrastructure and the home run connections, before it gets too far down the pike. If you see on the right here, there's a lot of, crazy super old equipment and phone related stuff on the wall here. That all got ripped out. And then we'll get into some afters in a minute. Crazy, just, you've probably seen a lot of stuff like this. It's standard. It's common, to be honest with you. It's the way that a lot of businesses that over the course of, a long period of time have really, just kind of adopted themselves to just saying, we're gonna just keep putting Band-Aids on stuff. Here's, another example, another client. This is an absolute rat's nest and an octopus. How do you even know what's going on in your environment for anything, honestly? Pretty impossible, I would say. That same project, as we were working through it and decommissioned all that old cabling and went to new equipment, we started bringing in all the home runs. Everything was labeled accordingly. You can see all the labeling schemes on the left. We went through the process of tagging and identifying all of the equipment all the way through, all the patch panels, installing the camera system that I mentioned to you and I showed to you about 3, 4, 5 minutes ago. Really just completely transformed. It's not even the same setup, to be honest with you. Here's another one. Look at this. Here's a before. That's just, audio and random networking equipment and touch panel and HDMI distribution just sitting on a little shelf. Well, how about this? How about building out and installing a brand new ecosystem with the Ubiquiti equipment? It's just not even the same, conversation, as far as the building out these racks and bringing everything into full form. You as a business are going to gain so much from being able to go to these types of solutions and setups and, just reap the benefits of, having extreme control. There's a Ubiquiti Dream Machine back there. It's doing wireless and wired. Having appropriateness, having budget cost consciousness, having remote visibility, having us being able to support you as a provider of services that you provide to your clients and your businesses, so that you're not being stopped and have to worry and chunk down on dealing with outages or dropped wireless or signal issues or too many people connecting on the network. And who's going to take care of this? And is somebody available? Everybody out of the pool. None of that stuff. We're not dealing with any of that kind of stuff. We're just going right into the solutions. And I got to tell you that for 98%, 95 to 98% of these installs and these cleanups and these upgrades and these standardizations on these ecosystems, it would be unusual to hear from a lot of the people that are on site after the fact that the network is done. It's really amazing when you start thinking about, the power that can be harnessed by locking in with a professional and, working through the process of, having a pro be able to support and provide your upgrade to the Ubiquiti ecosystem of products. And I would love to talk to you further about how to implement these exact and similar solutions for your business to take you from where you are to where you need to be when it comes to performance, reliability, security, visibility, access, control, power, connectivity, quality control, lack of feeling like you're ever in a position where your network is less than, and allowing us to manage your day-to-day so that you can do what you do best, which is focus on your business. Thanks for watching. I hope this was helpful. I hope this gave you a lot of insight and information, and I look forward to having a deeper conversation with you very soon.